Okay, let's start with the sheet metal decoiler. A steel metal coil is installed on the sheet metal decoiling equipment by placing it on a mandrel. The gripping action of the coil puller rolls unwinds the sheet metal off the coil. The steel then travels between the straightening rollers. These rollers are slightly offset to bend the metal in the opposite direction from which the coil is wound, taking out the curvature of the sheet caused by the coiling process. The sheet metal coil next drops down into an opening in the floor called a slack loop pit. A series of feed rollers pushes the exact amount of sheet metal required for the blank size into the blanking die. The slack pit allows the feed rolls to work with the least resistance. Otherwise, the coil feeder would be pulling against the action of the decoiler puller rolls, thus reducing the accuracy of the coil feed equipment. Now this sheet metal is ready to be made into blanks. Let's put names to the components of the blanking die and then see how it works. The coil feeder feeds the sheet metal into the open blanking die. The sheet metal rests on the lower blanking steels. As the die closes, driven down by the ram of the press, the upper spring pad makes the first contact against the sheet metal. The pad serves the function of holding the metal securely, while the die blanking steels cut out the blank from the coil. Notice the pad is held against the coil steel by springs, which compress as the die closes. The compressed springs provide enough pressure to keep the steel from shifting while cutting is taking place. Scrap cutters are in place at the rear of the die to cut off the ribbon of scrap left on the coil after the blank has been cut out. These smaller, more manageable pieces are collected, then discarded into the plant's scrap collection system. At the bottom of the press stroke, the upper blanking steels have completely cut out the blank. The blank then sheds through an opening in the die and press bed, and is eventually dropped into a pallet or gondola. Then the blanks are stacked, banded, and shipped to the appropriate press line for the forming die operations.